Hi, everyone. This is part 3 of 3 parts in our Declaration Software Critical Analysis series. We're talking to Dale Fletcher, who is a customs guru, a guy who's really interested in efficient, slick processes, duty opportunities, duty savings opportunities, compliance opportunities, and is open to the world of software and automation. Global trade management, huh? But how? And what is the reality of today's world? What can software do today? Do we still need humans? Or can software do everything, especially with AI? We've explored this over 2 parts of this 1-hour interview, which we cut into 3 parts to make it more manageable. And now we're looking at the third and final part, and that is the role of AI and the future of custom software. So going to look at also vendor accountability. So you see, when we complete all this 1, 2, 3 videos, we've got a lot covered in terms of what we're thinking about AI, what we're thinking about custom declaration software, where we are, and what the challenges are. And very often, companies just don't have the time to survey the market and say, well, there's so many software opportunities now. Everybody's promising the world. Everybody has the best AI solution. Everything is just optimal. I click and then everything's done for you. Well, is that the reality though? And when AI comes in, is this a buzzword? Does it have to be AI because AI is there? Or is there actually something in AI that can make it happen, that can streamline our operations, that can make it easier? I have wanted to talk to other people than cost software providers for a while. And the reason I wanted to talk to others is because then, we are not hearing the marketing spill. In a way, the last few weeks, we've been hearing extensively about how great the software is and how wonderful and how this and how that. But what about the reality? What if you really have to work at it? I mean, I have my opinion and I share it in the video, but listen to Dale, what he thinks about AI and the future of custom software declarations in this very final third part of my interview with him. I hope you enjoy. Let's get right back to the interview now.
Well, but that's because I'm mindful of your time, so I want to make sure we respect your time. Let me ask you about that then. Maybe the last 2 kind of blocks of our talk here, the impact of AI on customs declaration software, which is quite frankly, if you look at marketing literature, everywhere you go, everywhere the word AI pops up, not even in customs declarations, but everywhere. I mean, before there was anything, there was AI. And I am X Amber Road and XE2 Open. Before AI was cool, we were already doing it, right? So what are your thoughts on the integration of AI in the customs declaration software, and how do you address the potential for errors with AI-generated data, in your opinion?
I mean, AI is obviously, it's not just coming, it's here. It's doing far more than we actually realize. I would say that in terms of taking data that we know is right and using it in lots of places it knows it needs to go, to speed up the process, to stop repetition of wasting people with a good level of knowledge and skill, stop wasting that knowledge and skill by re-inputting. And I think that is a really good use. So it knows where to put the data that is absolutely correct. In terms of interpretation, we all look at tariff codes, for instance, as a classic example, one of the foundation stones of customs. And the technical knowledge you need very often within even a specific sector is very, very high, and there's so many grey areas as well open for interpretation. So I am a little bit skeptical in the real world as to the ability for machines, certainly at the moment, to deliver the sort of skill level and knowledge and reasoning as well, because very often it's a little bit like law. There's so many grey areas, you could argue it either which way. So sometimes, when you look at producing a tariff code, you can look at it a couple of ways very often. When you're relegating some difficult ones, and you have to put a justification behind that. Now, if AI is able to produce that justification, then fair enough, I guess, so that when the authorities start questioning, then it can say all this justification. But then AI would have to stand up in court potentially and state the case as well. Well, I don't think that probably would be accepted by the courts. It will have to be a human. So where does that human get the information from? Well, they would say we've got it from AI. I don't think that would stack up very well.
Well, maybe in the future it will, right? We don't know.
Maybe the law will change to allow it.
Yeah, whatever AI says is.
At the moment, if we just point to our computer and say, well, my computer said that, I don't think that says very much for the defense of that person being accused. So I think there lies another can of worms.
Well, but it's the same in a way. You could say, well, it's the exporter who gave me this data. You know, I don't question the HS code that my exporter gave me. I'll just add 2 digits to zeros, and that's my import code. It's in a similar way. That's like your AI almost, huh?
Yeah, well, this is where obviously it comes down to the company to provide the level of knowledge, the person with a level of knowledge, the experience, the ongoing training, and the development. And quite frankly, customs knowledge is vastly undervalued. And, but this will only be realized, when companies are getting increasing levels of fines, and also the companies don't realize just how efficient they can become internationally by basically using the knowledge that a specialist customs person has got. It's an area of efficiency and differentiation, competitive advantage that quite frankly many companies in the UK just don't have a clue about. Board level, there's very few people with any customs knowledge, and therefore it's not considered important within the organization. So yeah, that's obviously my own view. I am a little biased.
I share your view.
But I have worked in multinationals, automotive, core manufacturers. There's very little discussion. So often it's hived out to others, which is why the whole decision about the software is so important to get right.
Yeah, I always hear, well, not always, but I hear quite a lot of time when I talk to people that are seeking advice. So I say, well, who's making sure that your customs data is correct, and say, oh, it's my broker. I'm like, oh, your agent. Yeah, we give it all to the agents. They do it all. I'm like, yeah, but how do you know they do it right? And they're like, oh, because they're the agents. I'm like, oh, gosh. So yeah, so I totally feel your pain. Let's come to, we've been talking quite a while, and it's absolutely fascinating. I'd love to go on for another hour or so, but maybe we'll bring it to a close with a look into our final remark, the future directions of where this is going, where custom software is going. And you know what? I am not against you naming names. So if you have names that you want to recommend or give some thoughts on, you are free to do so. 3 questions, if I may, and the last one will be, which one's the best? That will be the last one. You can already start thinking about what you're going to say to that. The first question is, thinking about the prospective buyers, the advice that we will give to people that are looking at custom software, what advice then would you give to businesses looking for a straightforward import system, particularly for importing by sea or by road or by rail? Or what advice do you think for a straightforward custom software declaration? What would you say?
Well, in terms of naming names, I would go to someone like ASM or Time IT. I think they're very solid businesses. They don't overpromise. They'll tell you very quickly, what they can and cannot do. They don't promise the earth. So I would sort of trust those sort of guys from my experience to tell you very quickly. And you speak to people who are very well connected in the organization. So it's not a great big long process before you actually find out what they can and cannot do. They know other people as well. So I think it's a really good discussion that you always have with them very, very quickly and not waiting a long time. And it's not a voyage of discovery, quite frankly, or not a very long one. So I would go for smaller operators like that. I think you just make sure that you do develop a crib sheet, as we've said before, of questions, really define what it is you want. And I think it's no different from any software you should go into. exactly what it is you want to achieve, what sort of volumes that you're doing. Be very open, don't try and hide anything. If it's small volumes, that's fine, don't be embarrassed about it. It's a case that if you've got to start somewhere, you've got to find a provider who's willing to work with you and appreciate your business on those lower levels. At the end of the day, you've got to match up with the right party. So a really good crib sheet, be very, very clear as much as possible, and effectively I would start with smaller organizations. Don't go to the big guys. The costs are so high, the volumes they want are so high, it's so complex. We need people then who use the system all the time. So if you've got somebody who's going to be a part-time user, you want to go to a smaller operator, where you're not going to need a degree to basically interpret their system. Because quite frankly, people like WiseTech, they've got a great sort of training program. But that is a skill in itself, using a huge skill, just using their system. Because if you look at it, not having used anything like it before, you wouldn't almost know what to do. And so you've got to be very, very careful to pitch your skill level within your organization with the actual product, and how much training is that organization, that software provider, going to provide. What level of knowledge do your staff have? So we also think about training before on customs, not about systems, on customs itself, before you even approach, so that your staff can ask the right questions. Obviously, yes, you can use specialists like us. That will cost you some money, not a huge amount, but you will cut through an awful lot of time and lack of knowledge by using specialists. But you've really got to make sure the people who are going to be the users have got a high degree of knowledge as to what they are inputting and what they need to be checking, what they need to be asking from your suppliers to deliver to them, so that they can check the data that your third-party logistics providers are using and creating. Because some of them, after 6 months, just wipe the slate clean, even though HMRC demand storage of data for quite a number of years, and that even itself seems to vary. So 10 years seems to be the secure period, even though others will tell you less. So I would crib sheet, really being very clear on what you are doing, and just tell them everything about your business. Be very, very clear. The volume.
Yeah, it's about
what are your expectations. Right? Don't overpromise volume business, and hopefully you'll start off in a very open, honest relationship.
It's so important, right? And I figured this out as well. As I'm going on to my journey to find the next software provider for us, I am just open. I just say, this is all I want. This is me. This is our company. This is how many we defile. This is what we need, and this is not what we need. And I am coming to the realization that I need a genuine partner, someone I can talk to, and someone who is willing to jump on a call with me, and not just any nameless person I've never talked to. Even for custom software, I need this personal connection, which is also what I've said in my company. It is personal connection that makes the difference in customs, especially where things are so complex. You need to have this good fuzzy feeling, and for custom software, that is the same.
Absolutely, it's such a fundamental in international trade. It is the cornerstone, I believe. You can be as sophisticated marketing as you like. The logistics can be as good as you want. But at the end of the day, unless you get your cross-border administration absolutely nailed, and using all those efficiencies that are there, that many people don't appreciate are there, but making sure that they are then implemented correctly, and the fundamental checks and measures you need to do when importing or exporting, you've got responsibility for the whole process. So it fundamentally comes down to having amazing records, which is the system itself, the right system. If you get that operated properly by the right person in your organization, who can make it sing and dance, you are going to be light years ahead of most of your competition. And unfortunately, many companies in the UK have to wake up to this fact. And it seems a little bit, if I dare say, they'd rather moan about some of the challenges rather than actually learn about how to get around some of the challenges. There are answers there for absolutely everything. The EU is open for business, believe me, and we are just not taking advantage of that open door. I'll be quite frank. I know many people won't want to hear this, but that's the reality of the situation, and it's very sad to see.
Well, we will see what the government now will produce. Maybe there's more open doors now than there was in the past. Look, Dale, what a pleasure it's been. And you know, this is something very special that we have the chance to talk and talk that long, also because not often will you have such a frank discussion and then make it available for everybody to see and reflect, and also maybe feedback. You know, there's always feedback options for people. We'll put your details and your company details in the show notes as well, so people can contact you directly if you're happy with that. And I guess if I summarize our conversation, there's one thing that has come to mind, and maybe that's simplifying it a little, but I think in customs declaration software, what do you think about the summary like this? It's not the size that matters.
Absolutely right. Spot on. Absolutely.
I thought I'd never say that in the context of customs declarations. Wow.
No. Try and go smaller rather than bigger.
It's not the size that matters. That's a really good tagline. I should think about that. Dale, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. It was really, really cool to speak to you, and I'm sure we'll get the chance to talk about. There's so much more we could talk about. We'll have to have that. But this script sheet, I am so interested in. We'll see if what we magically can produce. Your final thoughts are with you. What are the last things you want to say before we wrap this up?
Well, I think I must thank you on basically your interest in this particular area. It's long overdue from the marketplace, and I wish there was somebody. I've been out there for some years doing this. There should have been somebody. It seems like there are lots of trade organizations, but for whatever reason, they seem disinterested in measuring these key systems. Now, cynically, I might say, well, they actually have a self-interest because they're sponsored by many of them. Many of them speak on their webinars. But, you know, that really shouldn't have a negative factor as to them actually being assessed properly by our trusted trade organizations, you know, that we all pay our annual subscriptions to. It's their responsibility to help us find the right solutions for our businesses. So I would bit of a wake-up call to some of them to say, come on, you need to be helping your members more than you have been at the moment. So it seems extraordinary that an organisation such as yourselves have had to step in and do this, but thank goodness you've taken on board what is a substantial task. And I congratulate you for doing this, but I sort of sense also you are the right person to do it because of your huge amount of knowledge. And your desire for solutions, which we need in this business. So well done you for grappling with this.
Well, thank you for helping and making it happen. So this is, I can't do it alone. I need people like you that come forward and talk to us. That's it. Thank you so much for your time. Amazing conversation. I hope this was useful for everyone. If you got a question, you can reach out to Dale, of course, and to me as well. And don't forget, if you found value in this webinar, in this conversation, it will help the channel, it will help me. It will be also important for Dale that we hear your feedback. So please leave feedback in the comments. And as you know, I've got to say it for the algorithm, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it with anyone else who may find value in this content. Thank you very much, Dale. You're amazing. And I'll see you on next week. Thanks, Dale.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, I've just said goodbye, but now I'm saying goodbye again because I'm kind of embedding my comments into this video, which was one long video, and we had to kind of cut it quite abruptly. So I wanted to give some intro and some ending to it. So there you have it. 1 hour of me and Dale talking about customs declaration software, the future of it, and from someone who is not on the payroll of a customs software house. Controversial, not always easy to listen to, for sure. Absolutely necessary for those that have to make decisions, as regards custom software? I think so. I think so, because I don't see anyone who's ever given an honest opinion about custom software, what they can and can't do. So for an unbiased opinion, you know now Dale's the experienced one. You know now you can contact Dale. You can contact me, of course, as well. Before you purchase software, I guess is the message. Have a talk to us. Hey, free call. There's no charge here. You can always book a free call with Dale and me at any time. And ask Arnie. They're promising the world. What do you think? So before you enter a multi-million-dollar contract about custom software that locks you in, it's like a marriage. I hope you found the right partner, because you're going to be in it for the long haul. As you heard Dale describe, it's never as easy as it's you're made to believe. The financial commitment is significant. And what about the fact that your systems have to adopt to the software you buy and not the software adopts to your system? How long is the implementation period? Is it plug and play and go? So I had one vendor, one company where that was promised, you sign with us and in 10 minutes you file customs declarations. That was with Customs Declarations UK. And that's good. That's good. So let's see. I will make my decision very, very shortly now. I have narrowed it down to a few candidates, and I'm going to reveal the results soon. Considering everything I've heard over the last couple of weeks, those that didn't respond, they're out. They're out right away. Because they're not saying no to me. They're not saying I'm not interested. So I'm not even going to consider them. Those that did respond, and those that went on an interview with me, they're the ones I'm very interested in, because they are the ones that are open to collaboration. They are the ones that are interested in work that customs agents do, that their potential clients do, and they're interested in what independent customs experts say. And they understood that collaboration with the gurus of customs is really important. So having considered that, and having seen what the response is to, or was over the last couple of weeks to my survey, and now having had this interview with Dale, makes me come very close to a decision, which I'm excited to reveal in the next couple of weeks. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was very interesting. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, share, and of course, as always, stay with us. Can't wait to see you next time. Thanks for watching.